Okay, good evening YouTube, good evening, welcome to episode 46 of the FPL Family. The very first thing we need to do, what do we need to do?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, guys? Are we too soft? Are we too loud? Are we just right? What is going on? And I like staying on the main screen because I like being full screen for a little while, but I'm going to go to the chats, straight away to the chats. Thank you, Joseph O'Gorman. Yes, Michelle Din. Yes, the mic is on. Sound is on. Goodness me.
Way.
Guys, thank you so much for sticking with us last live stream. I do know what happened. I have figured it out. It's not going to happen again, but it was very embarrassing. So thank you and to be honest, I actually got quite a lot of views the last video, so people are obviously tuning in to see how flipping useless we are at technology. But guys, tonight is going to be, if you thought last week and you think FPL Family is technically advanced, which it's not, wait until tonight. Wait until tonight. Have we got a treat for you? We have got, fingers crossed, because he's been helping us out for the last 45 minutes, troubleshoot the damn thing. Frank Verlinden on the show tonight. Frank Verlinden, he of Patreon fame, he of Manager of the Month for February fame, Frank Verlinden. So we're going to do a few hellos to everybody that's in the live chat, and then we're going to get Frank on for 5 minutes to talk about his season so far, what he did so right in February, and what he's planning to do with his chips going forward. So we're going to have a little chat with Frank in a sec. And then we're going to be doing all sorts of stuff. We'll be talking about chip strategy, the fixtures for the weekend. We'll be talking about Retro Thursday. Retro Thursday, this wonderful creation here from circa 1990. It sort of feels a bit
weird that you're wearing white and I'm wearing not white.
Sort of. But what sort of year is this? The Pony Sports. Has this one been out before? I feel like this has been out before.
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I've had a coloured one before.
Okay. All right.
Maybe it has. I'm not sure.
This is a new one. Well, it's obviously not new. It's something like, I don't know, late 90s, I think, maybe early 2000s, probably early 2000s, I would say.
I reckon I've
something
got
like
about
that.
4 more that I've not yet debuted.
4 more before they go on a cycle when we start, roll it out. The one thing we've got to do is do this little guy as well. So this is, almost.
Right, if you'd have gone, this is, and then told everyone
Sam,
who it is.
I'm preoccupied. My mind is on other things.
Have him. I'll put him
My mind is on other things. I'm thinking about the Skype call that's coming up.
Can't even see.
Thinking about other things. Who is this little guy? Get in the live chat. This is even more random than Timmy Sherwood, who we had last time. Even more random. This little guy. Hold him still so we can focus on him a little bit. There he is. There he is. Have a look at that guy. Who do you think that guy is, guys? That is an England shirt, by the way.
Yeah, it's not very clear, is he?
Not massively clear. That's good enough. It's good enough. There we go. Good enough. So what we're going to do, before we do hellos, I've got to talk about the polls as well, guys. Yes, sorry, you can put him down now.
Okay.
Thank you, assistant. So
you're welcome. I'm modelling.
We're going to do some polls, guys. Get into the polls. Top right-hand corner, click on the little eye up there and have a look at the 4 questions that we've got ahead of Gameweek 30. So we've got...
It's not, shall we get rid of Sun again, is it?
No, it's not. I've got rid of that. But what I have done is focused on 3 teams. 3 teams that are getting a lot of love and attention ahead of blank Game Week 31 and the doubles. Now, clearly, we're all looking at... There's a whole number of teams that I could have done these questions about. And I've not put Newcastle in. I've not put Chelsea in there. But I did get into Twitter earlier for you guys that actually came back to me on the question earlier. An FPL executive said, which... Bournemouth player would you pick? Which attacking asset at Bournemouth would you pick? Wilson, King, Fraser or Brooks? So those are your options for that one. And then Rushil came in and said, well, which Leicester attacking option would you have? Would you have Harvey Barnes, Maddison, Vardy, Tielemans as well? I put in there as well because he looks like a nice little differential. And then I thought, well, why don't we continue that thing? We've got Brooks, we've got Bournemouth, we've got Leicester. Why don't we have a look at West Ham as well? Which attacking West Ham asset you guys having a look at? Is it still Anderson? Still keeping faith with Anderson? From the look on your face, you're not keeping faith in Anderson.
Well, did you read my article for the Scout this week?
I did read your article for the Scout this week. Very good it was too. Very good.
So no.
So are you considering Anderson still? Are you looking at Arnautovic? Are we looking at Lanzini now, back from the dead Lanzini? So lots and lots to discuss. Before we say hello, I want to get your thoughts, Sam, on the Champions League games. And in particular, what the hell happened in Paris last night? What a result for Manchester United. And I know we have a lot of Manchester United fans that tune into this. So well done, you guys. Absolutely amazing to get through to the quarterfinals.
No team ever come back.
No team has ever done that.
No.
In the last 16. In the knockout phase of the Champions League, no one has ever come down from a 2-0 defeat at home to go through. That's absolutely incredible. And the Liverpool fans that joined this stream, I'm sure will forgive me for saying this, even I, at the end of the game, was I had a little smile because
so happy
I had a
for
little smile because, goodness me, it was there's so many things to like about that performance from a United perspective. I thought McTominay came of age, brilliant performance. They had injuries from all over the place. Pogba, their best player, was missing.
But
all the kids turned up.
The hair
Whose
on
hair?
Chong?
Chong.
What's his name?
Chong.
His hair.
His hair is outrageous, but I love it.
I mean, it's outrageous. I reckon that's why they won. His hair was so off-putting.
And who's the kid? Greenwood as well?
Yeah.
I think he had to go back to school the next day or something. I mean, it's blowing my mind, the sort of players that Ollie was putting out. But fair play. And Lukaku now, guys.
Just give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a contract already.
It's done.
Just give it
it's
to
done.
him.
He'll absolutely do it. No issue. But Lukaku now, from an FPL perspective, got to consider him, haven't we?
Well, I thought he wasn't going to be an FPL pick for a minute because he went down and he was down for a very long time injured, and then he got up and he was all right.
Yes.
And that kind of, I was looking at that very closely as a Rashford.
Got any news on that? Is he going to be? He's all right. Is he?
Yeah,
he's all right. Okay, good.
He played on, so he was fine.
Good. All right.
It was a. I mean, you were flying at the time, weren't you? So you didn't really get to see it.
I didn't watch any of the game. I just listened to the reaction on Talk Sport afterwards, and it was they were lauding. Not just Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but some of the players.
It was a great game.
In particular, brilliant.
It was a really great game. As a neutral fan of football watching that game, it was brilliant to watch. I imagine, as a Man United fan, it was probably the most stressful time of their lives.
Best night for Man United since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in 1999, do you think?
Yeah.
In Europe?
Yeah.
Probably up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's probably up there.
They were brilliant.
Thoughts on Spurs as well, very quickly, because that was a routine win. Going away to Dortmund is never routine, right? But you were 3-0 up. It looked as if you were going to cruise to it. Nice finish from Kane. Happy to be through.
Very much so. And really pleased with the defending. Defending was outstanding.
Good.
Noticed
Excellent.
that Trips didn't play and the defending was great. What is going on? What is going on? He is actually injured now, apparently, so maybe there was a problem.
You've massively changed on Trippier.
I mean, I love Trippier.
You used to love Kieran Trippier. Now it's just abuse.
I adore him, but I mean, the man, he needs to get back on the weights and he needs to sort himself out. He is actually injured, so I'd feel a bit sorry for him. But we were fantastic defensively on Tuesday night. And obviously, lovely finish from Kane. So yeah, more than happy. 2 out of 2 so far. Can you keep up the pace?
Well, let's see. One thing's for sure, Arsenal have now got a challenge on their hands after losing to Rennes.
They can't stop getting people sent off.
Discipline issue at Arsenal, potentially.
And Aubameyang's had a strop because he's had to come off.
Well, they bought Aubameyang off when they were, 2 or 3-1 down? So they needed goals, and he bought Aubameyang off for Kolasinac. Who knows, guys? Who knows? Is Emery going mental? Who knows? It's Manchester United versus Arsenal at the weekend, which is a fixture we're going to preview in a minute, which has got... Well, that's got tasty written all over it. that is going to be some game now. I think United are going to go into that game,
isn't it? Because we've got 3 games. So.
Yeah, but United are going to be going to that game absolutely full of beans. I mean, full of beans. Right, let's see who is in the live chat. So, guys, let's say hello to a few people. Joe Finley Badder is here. Patreon supporter Joe Finley Badder, and new into the FPL Family Slack channel, which was released today. So Joe and everybody else that joined the FPL Family Patreon Slack channel, thank you. It was good. We got a few messages going. Got a bit of a discussion going. It was good.
It was funny because I was in an art class with our little girl. All of a sudden, my phone just went mental, and I was like, "What is happening?" I looked at it, and it was just like slack. Okay.
I love it. So, guys, if you want to check that out, head over to patreon.com/FPL Family. You can join Joe and Frank and a load of other guys that are in there already talking FPL on all sorts of things. Right, there is a bit of non-FPL talk as well. If you want to,
picture of my lion.
If you want to have a look at the lion that Sam and our daughter made at Creation Station earlier today, you can get in there and do that. But if you're not interested in that, and frankly, why would you be? Lots of jammy pick talk and transfer talk and all that sort of stuff. Listen, I'm not judging. So get over and check that out. Bench FPL, thank you for joining us this evening. He's also in the Slack, so thank you for doing that. Hello from Paris, Lloyd AJ says. PSG fan, Lloyd, or just in Paris and maybe a Mancunian? Who knows?
Yeah, still a Man U fan, still out celebrating.
Could still be out there, still celebrating.
24 hours
absolutely.
later.
Peter Reed is in. Hello from Austin, Texas. How you doing, Peter? Carry256 is here. There's a name which is written in Greek and then says evening from Athens, so I'm not in any way going to try and pronounce that name. But good evening,
you did like
Athens.
It there,
good
didn't
evening.
You?
Wonderful, wonderful city. Wonderful city. Went on a work thing, had a tour of the Acropolis and the Parthenon, and it was just sensational. Really, really nice. Loved the Greek culture and loved everything about it. Absolutely sensational. Kevin Mellier is here. How you doing, Kevin? Ricardo Buckton is here. How you doing? Leo's in and modding. How you doing, Leo? Eric Lord is here. Rushil Joshi, how are you doing? Karam is here. He says, hello. How are you, Sam and Lee? We are doing really well, Karam. Really well. And thank you, Karam, for all of your help in setting up the Slack channel. Actually, Karam was the first into the Slack channel. So he was the guinea pig in the way that Frank is the guinea pig for what's about to happen.
Well, Frank, we've taken up like an hour of his life already.
Frank, we've already stolen a lot of Frank's time, haven't we? But he's ready and waiting to say hello to us. So we are going to get to that in just a sec. MU Fan TV is in, and presumably very, very happy man this evening.
Loads of stats for you tonight.
Loads of stats. Loads and loads of stats. So lots of you in, guys. Lots of you in. So thank you very much for joining us. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We're going to be talking FPL fixtures. We're going to be talking teams and transfers, etc. Everything that you would expect on FPL Family. But for the next 5 or so minutes, we're going to have a chat with Frank Verlinden. So Frank, as our Patreon supporters will know, won the February Manager of the Month competition. So he gets a shirt of his choice, which we're going to ask him about in a minute. Now, because we are massively, massively technical here at the FPL Family, what we're going to do is I'm going to have the right earbud. You're going to have the left earbud so that we can both hear Frank. I'm going to go over here to the OBS. Now, guys, this is...
caught a little glimpse of Frank there.
This is the moment where it either goes brilliantly or tragically wrong.
Come on, Frank.
Let's see.
Can we see you?
Right, let's go to here.
Is.
Now, we can see Frank. I think we can see Frank. So hopefully you guys in the live chat can see Frank.
Can we hear him?
Hear Frank. Frank, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah!
Excellent, excellent. Now, don't cheer too quickly, because just because we can hear Frank doesn't mean that the guys can hear Frank. So
please tell me they can hear him.
Let's get into the chat and see if you guys can hear and see Frank. And if you can...
Oh, Josh has said hello. So
Josh says, hey, Frank. That's a good sign. Guys, can you hear and see Frank? Because if you can, frankly, this is one of the technical highlights of my life. We can hear. Yes. This is amazing.
It's a victory.
That's amazing. It was brilliant stuff. So, Frank, we can all hear you live, loud and clear. So welcome to the FPL Family live stream. And thank you for taking up not just an hour of your life to sort out all of the issues with OBS that I've had over the last sort of hour or so. But thanks for joining. How is your season going so far? Introduce yourself to the guys and talk us through who your key players have been so far this season.
Hi, guys. Very well. I think I have the best season in 7 seasons, so I'm doing great. 1,800 points at the moment. About 7,162nd in the world. So I think I can be pretty happy about it.
So you're about 1.7k in the world, which is frankly absolutely outstanding. Where are you, Sam? You're about sort of 25k now, aren't you? Something like that, which is a pretty damn good rank.
Yeah.
So, well, 25k is a pretty good, damn good rank. So to be 1.7 in the world, Frank, is absolutely sensational. What's been the highlight for you so far this season? Did you have Aguero captain in, when was that? Sometime in February, wasn't it? Game week 28, maybe game week 27? Who did you have captain that week that Aguero got his hat-trick?
I think it was game week 25, beginning of the February.
Yes, you're right.
Aguero for his hat-trick.
Nice. And did you have him for the hat-trick on the game week after as well? Because wasn't it back-to-back hat-tricks?
Yeah.
No, I think it was a game against Chelsea, so I thought I'd go for Salah against, I think it was Bournemouth.
I think it was against Bournemouth, and I think he did okay, didn't he? I think he might have got just a goal or something, yeah.
And you triple captained Aguero, right? At the end of February.
Sorry?
Didn't you triple captain Aguero in the last game week?
Yes, I triple captained Aguero in the last game. I think by captaining Aguero in February was my was the key thing about winning the manager of the month, I think.
Nice, excellent. So talk us through your season so far at a high level. Who's been your best player? Who's been your player of the season? We spoke on the last live stream, Sam and I, about how Raul Jimenez has been absolute fantasy gold this year. Hasn't he been absolutely sensational? Who's been the one player for you that's really stood out?
Well, that's the player I wanted to mention because I think I had him for a long time. His value is incredible. I think also Doherty is doing really well, but I think Jimenez is really the pick for me this year.
Yeah, I think the Wolves players, not just Doherty or Jimenez, but at the beginning of the season, Patricio was very good, wasn't he? You had Johnny on the other side of the defence. It's taken some time for Jota to get going. There's a bit of pre-season hype about him, but seems to be coming back to the fore at the moment. What's your thoughts on transfers and captains for the upcoming game week then, Frank? Game week 30, what's your strategy?
Now I want to do I don't want to do the free hit in 32, so I was building up a team for 31.
Very good.
Brought in Cher from Newcastle, and also brought back Fabianski because Patricio. I thought I would take a punt on him, but it didn't work out against Huddersfield. Neither he was benched the last game, so Patricio wasn't a really good pick. So I went back to Fabianski instead.
That's a nice shout because I think Fabianski's got some awesome fixtures coming up, hasn't he?
And he's a particularly great pick for 31.
Yeah, I was looking at my two keepers. I've got Foster and Fabianski right now, and Foster's fixtures over the next few are not good.
No, but
Fabianski's are pretty good, so I think I'm covered. I don't think I need to make a knee-jerk goalkeeper reaction.
No.
But talk me through your captain for this game week then, Frank. Who are you looking at?
I'm still pondering about it. I don't know yet. I'm between Salah and Aguero, but I don't know whether Aguero will play. So I hope so.
Yeah, let's see.
Wait until Friday. I think having some news from the press conferences.
Yeah, let's see. I think Aguero will play. I can see.
Do you?
Oh, he's had a week's rest, hasn't he? They don't play in the Champions League. I'm not going to say they're through in the Champions League either. They do need to go to the Etihad and beat Schalke, don't they? I think they've got 3 away goals, so they're in a nice position. So I get the feeling that the game at the weekend is against Watford, isn't it, at home? They're going hell for leather right now, City, and I can't see that Pep is not going to play his strongest team. I think he'll play, but listen, we've got to look for the press conferences. What do you make of Salah's form at the moment? Would you trust him with the armband at the moment, Frank?
I think Salah was really close against Everton, so I think he can grab a goal anytime. But I think the Watford game may be the better choice, maybe. Because Watford is taking a lot of goals also, so maybe Aguero would be my first choice, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Aguero, for me at the moment, we'll talk transfers and captains and all that, and our teams towards the end of the live stream. Salah, for me, has looked a little bit out of form, but you're right, Frank. He was involved at Everton at least. He was in those positions to miss those chances, if that's a good thing. And at the end of the day, it was very windy.
Oh, for goodness sake.
It was very windy.
Well, it's very windy now, isn't it? It's very stormy and windy.
It was very windy up at Goodison Park, without sounding too much like a certain German. It was difficult to get the ball down and play,
So he always can score a goal. He can score 3, so it's real an FPL asset. So I think you never have to underestimate him.
I think you're absolutely right. Last question for us then, Frank. What's your target for this season? So you're at 1.7k already. What's your strategy going forward? Are you looking to push into that top 1k and get a 3-figure finish? Or are you looking to just try and consolidate and not slip too far down? What do you want to do between now and the end of the season? Where do you want to be?
I am trying to go all out and see what happens. I think I want to take some risk also. I don't bother. Just picking the right players and watching the games, because I really like the eye test of seeing who's good, and I think I just want to go as high as I can.
Good stuff. Well, listen, 1.7k rank is absolutely phenomenal, mate. Absolutely phenomenal. And congratulations on winning the Manager Month for February. The first one we've ever done. So thank you for taking part.
Go down in history now.
That is it. That's your name is etched in the halls of fame at FPL Family. There are no halls of fame in FPL Family.
We could make one. We'll have a little bit of paper on the wall.
We could make a new Hall of Fame and put Frank's name on a post-it note or something on the wall. We'll do something like that. Frank, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for helping me out and getting this set up. Because hopefully the next time, so when you win it again in March and you want to come back on, it'll be a lot easier. It'll be a lot easier. Okay. So listen, Frank, thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the live stream, and we will speak to you very soon, mate.
Bye, Frank.
Very much. Bye, guys.
Thanks. Cheers.
Bye.
Okay, now we need to go back to here.
I'm going to take these out now because it keeps falling out.
I think we can take these out.
I love Frank. He's brilliant.
I'm going to call that a flipping success.
A win.
On you.
That's a win for Lee from FPL Family, that is. A technical win.
Listen, last week we didn't even have sound for 5 minutes. This week we've had live chat streaming with...
International
live chat streaming. Absolutely sensational from FPL Family. Love it, love it, love it. Right, so there we go. Oh, the little boys, it's Frank's woken him up. That's what it is. Frank's woken him up. Go and see if he's all right. Go and see if he's all right. Right, guys, let's get on to the fixtures. Before we do, there's our Twitter on the left-hand side, at FPL Family. It's at FPL Family on Instagram as well. And if you are on Facebook, you can search for FPL Family in Facebook. And we also have a page over there too. So there we are. That's our Twitter page. Here are the fixtures for Game Week 30, Saturday the 9th of March and Sunday the 10th of March. Where do we start with this lot? Normally I would ask Sam where we're going to start, but where I am going to start, and Sam is going to chip back in when she gets here, is Arsenal versus Manchester United. So guys, I want to hear in the live chat what you guys think about that game. I personally think that Manchester United are going to be absolutely buzzing after that result the other night. Absolutely buzzing. And I can't see anything other than, say, an away win. But, you know, Arsenal are they're half decent at home. So let's see what you guys want to say about Arsenal versus Manchester United. Are you guys keeping Rashford? Are you keeping Pogba, given that these guys have got a lot of value tied up in our FPL teams? And also, we've got the blank Game Week 31 coming up, of course, where Manchester United don't play. So absolutely a case for maybe getting rid of Manchester United assets. Is everything all right?
He's hot, apparently.
He's hot. Okay. It's pretty cold here today. Storm Freya is the tail end of it is still around, isn't it? So it's
is that what it is?
It's pretty windy and rainy at the minute. So I think I can't see why he's hot, but hopefully he's all right. Hopefully he's all right.
You are quite loud tonight.
Am I quite loud? But it's because we had the headphones in and everything. I'll try and be a bit...
You are quite loud up there. I can hear you very clearly.
Ah, right, okay.
So potentially you've woken him up.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, on a positive note, Max is going to be great at FPL. He's going to have understood everything that we're saying to Frank, and he's going to have all the tips. So I was just talking to the guys about Arsenal versus Manchester United. Then that's where we're going to start for Game Week 30. Any thoughts on the game? Are United going to be buzzing? Is it going to be an easy away win? Or what do you think about it? Any stats from UFan TV, given that we're starting with Manchester United?
Yeah, I did. I wrote down some stats. What have I written? This was quite interesting. So only Man City have more points at home this season than Arsenal.
Okay.
And only Spurs and Liverpool have more points away than Man United. So they both do quite well in their respective, Arsenal at home, United away.
Okay. And give me your views on the Man United assets that you've got. So you're holding Rashford, you're holding Pogba. One of the questions I was just asking the guys while you were away was, what are you doing with those guys? Well, are you holding or are you... Okay.
Because I'm a free hitting in 31.
Of course, because you've got the strategy of free hit in 31.
So whatever you're doing, I'm doing the opposite, basically.
It's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks, isn't it? It'll be very interesting because your strategy is to free hit in 31. Mine is to free hit in 32. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that works. So you're presumably keeping all of these great assets because you want them for the doubles in 32.
Yeah, because I've got 3 Man United assets. I've got Lindelof as well as Pogba and Rashford. I'm going to hold all of them.
Lindelof is looking pretty good, actually, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been good.
Very solid against Paris. Difficult to pick out any particular player that played well in that game because they all played very, very well. But Lindelof is a changed man under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He was completely written off under Mourinho, wasn't he? But looks solid as a rock yesterday, so I like that pick now. Whether he can get a clean sheet away at Arsenal...
Well, he's on my bench, so hopefully not.
Okay. He's in your bus team on your bench, is he? Okay.
At the moment he is, yeah. Also, another random stat for MUFan TV. If Paul Pogba misses any more penalties this season, he'll be the first one that's ever missed 4 pens in a campaign.
Is that right? So he's not got a fantastic record then? Okay.
Missed 3 so far this season. And if he misses one more, that'll be the first time anyone's ever missed 4 pens in a season. Okay,
and then give me your thoughts. And we talked about it very briefly. We talked about him very briefly at the beginning of the live stream. Romelu Lukaku. So really low ownership, still low ownership, particularly in the top 10k. Not owned by hardly anybody, less than 1 or 2%, I think. So if you're looking like Frank is maybe to really jump up from 1.7 up to the real echelons of FPL, or even from your perspective, getting up from 25k to get back into the top 10k. Lukaku's got to be one you're having a look at, right?
Yeah.
I sense a but. There's a but in there, isn't there?
But I'm tripled up.
Ah, right, okay.
So, in order to get Lukaku, I'd have to lose Rashford, which I'm not opposed to, but that feels like a waste of a transfer.
Yes.
Given that I'm building towards having double game week players for 32, it feels like a waste of a transfer to do Rashford to Lukaku.
And what do you think Solskjaer's going to do when Martial comes back and he's fit?
I don't know, panic?
Do you think he's... Well, no, I think it gives him a really nice problem, actually, because you're going to have Martial potentially fighting it out on the left. And when Lukaku was out of form a few weeks back, that's what he did. There was tons of pace with Martial and Rashford was the main man, scoring all the goals. I can't see how he drops Lukaku now, the form that he's in.
No, I can't either, but actually I thought Lukaku and Rashford played really well together last night when I watched them. So at the weekend, one of my fears with Rashford was the impact that Lukaku playing would have on him, pushing him out wide. And I didn't think that Rashford looked as good as he had done in the previous matches. But watching them together last night, I didn't have the same worries that I did before. I thought they played well together last night. So, and
Rashford potentially on penalties, although I think I did hear something, maybe it was some Solskjaer or some source from the club saying that they're looking to rotate those two.
Okay.
I think Solskjaer came out and said...
Well, it's not going to be Pogba anymore, is it?
Well, when he's not on the pitch, which I think is a good point, isn't it? Pogba's going to take most of them in the Premier League, but if Pogba's not there for some reason, I think the other two are kind of backups, and they sort it out between them when the opportunity arises, right? But I think you're spot on. It's Pogba mostly. Let's see what you guys are saying. Aaron Chen is in this evening. Thank you, Aaron, for joining. Lukaku is a proper jammy pick. He is a proper jammy pick, no doubt about it. Dom J, not sure about Rom yet. Not sure about him. We'll wait and see nearer the time. Rashford might be better value. Andrew Yee, Lukaku was 4.5% when I checked this afternoon. Yeah, I think that is his overall ownership in FPL, Andrew. But I think in the top 1K, in the top, the guys we're all chasing, he's like less than 1% or something. He's not owned hardly at all.
Because I think Lukaku was actually in quite a lot of teams for the beginning of the season, and a lot of the dead teams now.
Could be right. Yes, absolutely.
So you might find that.
And thoughts on Arsenal then in that game? So if you were an Aubameyang owner...
I'm glad I'm not.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty glad that I've sold him, because now that he's played in the Champions League, been hauled off for a defender when they needed a goal.
No, let's not promote them to the Champions League, please. They're in the Europa
League. You're absolutely right, Europa League. Very quick to correct that. So they're playing in the Europa League. They need a goal. He hauls him off for Kolasinac, which is frankly an astounding situation. And Lacazette, of course, is he serving still his suspension in the Europa League, or was he just not involved tonight?
Do you know, actually, I didn't look at Lacazette. I'm not sure.
I'm not even sure he was on the bench, tonight. So if I was a Lacazette owner in FPL, I'd be absolutely fine with him playing against Manchester United the weekend. But if I was an Aubameyang owner, I'd be pretty concerned right now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and Lacazette's form at home in the Premier League's been really good. So he has... he scored in the last 5 consecutive Premier League home games.
Yes.
Could be only the second Arsenal player ever to score in 6 consecutive Premier League home games. If he scores against Manchester United at the weekend.
And the guys are saying Lacazette is suspended for both legs. So you're absolutely right, guys. That's why he didn't feature. Still suspended. Aubameyang was in, but like I say, didn't get the full 90.
I've said quite a lot recently that for me, Lacazette and the money is better than Aubameyang. And I'm still maintaining that. I don't see anything from Aubameyang, and I haven't done for a while now, that makes me think he's worth the amount of money you've got to invest in him in FPL.
Plus a blank in 31, so if you're like me and you're free hitting in 32, then you want to get rid of him anyway, pretty much. And if you were going to do that, where would you go, do you think? Higuain is the one. Yeah, so let's talk about Chelsea next, because Chelsea are at home to Wolves on Sunday afternoon at 2:05. Does that mean we've got 3 games again on Sunday?
Yeah, Super Sunday again.
Oh, yes.
But you're on at midday.
Yes.
Midday on a Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit weak, isn't it? Yeah.
And I remember last time you were on at midday on a Sunday, and it was terrible. The atmosphere was like... No one was awake at Liverpool.
Yeah, they need to get themselves up for that one. But that was last weekend when we had 3 games, including the Merseyside derby. That was ace, wasn't it? I love a Super Sunday with 3 back-to-back games.
Because we just don't move off the sofa.
Literally glued to the screen.
Until 8 o'clock, when we walk over here, sit down and do a stream.
So go on then, give me your thoughts on Chelsea versus Wolves. Have Wolves potentially checked out a little bit mentally out of the Premier League? Listen, they've got a massive FA Cup tie against Manchester United, which
they have.
Nuno Espirito Santo is surely prioritising over the league. The league is fine, right? The league is not obviously going to get relegated. They're probably not going to push into the top 6. So they're probably the FA Cup's their best chance of a bit of glory this year, right?
Well, that is 100% true. What you've just said is right. However, Wolves' record against the top 6 teams this season is brilliant, and it's far better than any other of the 13 teams that aren't, in the top.
Yes, they do up their game, don't they? They do
tend
to do that.
Yeah, they've got 9 points versus the top 6, which is more than anyone else. So they do up their game, and they do play really well. And Chelsea, they're playing tonight, so they've not had the same amount of time to recuperate from the weekend.
No Higuain or Hazard tonight though for Chelsea.
No, but Higuain very rarely plays in Europe. It's nearly always Giroud.
Yeah, true.
Hazard, obviously, I presume that's a rest on the basis that they'd already done all right last week or the week before, whenever it was they last played.
Fancy Raul Jimenez to notch in that game. FPL chances in. Dan, how are you doing? Wolves always turn up against the big boys, as you 100%. Rightly say. Fancy Raul to notch, he says.
Yeah, playing him.
I think I'm going to play him this week, Doherty, going to play him this week?
He's on my bench. But I'm really... This is one I'm really struggling with because... And most of you know this about me by now. Whenever I bench Doherty, it goes badly. It never seems to go well. He'll always pop up with an assist. But I'm looking at my team and thinking, I think I'd rather play Fraser... than I would Doherty, because I don't see Doherty keeping a clean sheet against
Fraser
Chelsea.
away at Huddersfield sounds good to me. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's kind of come between a choice between those two, really.
Okay. Dom J is in. He's saying Wolves seem to be preparing for the FA Cup. Seems to be the priority. I do tend to agree with you. I just feel like they might go out against Chelsea with not quite as much gusto as they normally do. I know they up their game for the big games, but I do foresee potentially. A bit of rotation there as well.
We had some already.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumour on Twitter, wasn't there, last week about how there's a lot of ITKs, a lot of in the know Twitter accounts saying, "Oh, this is happening, this is happening." At one stage, there was a tweet that I saw, and it was almost like a B team that they were going to put out. And in the end, it was a decent team they put out. But one of the two was dropped. Doherty
but then
was
he
rested,
came on
right?
Because of the injury to.
Yes, he was forced on.
Jota?
No, he was forced on. Yes, I think Jota got injured, so he was forced on in the end. I think given that he's had that bit of a rest, I don't necessarily see that he's going to rotate him again against Chelsea. I think he will put out a decent side.
No, I think he'll play a decent side against Chelsea. He has to.
I think you're probably right. And the Wolves assets again. If you're free hitting in 32, what's your thoughts on? They don't play in the blanks, right? So 31 or 30 or 33, I think, is still to be confirmed. They don't play in 31. So on that basis, with Chelsea away and then a blank. Easy to see why a lot of people are getting off of these guys, but it's the value, isn't it? We're all so tied into team value. How important is that to you right now at this stage of the season, team value?
Well, team value isn't important to me at all now. What is important to me is having the players that I want after the blanks and the doubles are finished. And for me, I don't want to lose Jimenez. Now, if there was only one or two players that I didn't want to lose, then you could afford to bench them over the blank and be okay. But there's like 3 or 4, 5 in my team that have got a lot of value built up in them. And if I can't afford to lose them all to cover the blank, which is why I'm playing my strategy in the way that I am.
Do you subscribe to the view that now is the time to unlock that value now, though? Are we getting to a point in the season where we've built up team value for all the 30-odd game weeks that we've had so far for this moment? This is the moment to start spending that value and not worrying about losing a bit of team value. It's all about the points now, right?
I'm not worried about losing the team value, but I am worried about not being able to get these players back again. Are you right?
Spilling my water everywhere.
I am worried about not getting the players back that I want for the final 5 game weeks of the season because I've sold them and I can't afford to buy them all back again.
Okay.
And that's my issue, is that there's players like Pogba and like Jimenez, those two in particular, that I really do want, probably, well, as far as I'm concerned, till the end of the season. So if I take them out, getting them back means I've got to lose one of my other big players. Okay, all right. Let's see what you guys are saying in the live chat about team value and maybe ditching Wolves assets. Plus, at the moment, this double game looks rubbish because there's only one game extra in it. True. That's what they've announced. Yeah, absolutely. So Sayakir Akram is in. How are you doing? He's saying, I'm ditching Doherty. Not bothered with the doubles next game week. Wolves don't keep clean sheets. So Doherty out for Sayakir. Interesting. Josh Oram, I think Chelsea's defence is not good enough to handle Jimenez to run David Luiz and co ragged at the weekend potentially. Interesting that Alonso is playing again tonight in the Europa League. So clearly Emerson is the favourite now there, I think, at left back. I think if you're still holding Alonso, he's long overdue a sale, guys. I think you need to get rid of him. He's out of favour, which is a real turn of events, isn't it? You think about how the FPL status he had all of last season, beginning of this season. People absolutely nailed on in everyone's teams, and now how long it took us to remove him as well. We all kept holding him. Absolutely. Dom J is saying Wilson fit again, Josh. Hard to say whether he'll start. Howe will probably give him 20 and start him at home. So I think that is a really nice place to go. One of the teams that's in the polls. It's one of the teams that we're all looking at in terms of assets for the next few game weeks because
They do look kind of nice, actually, Bournemouth. After what is frankly a very, very difficult run of games, they've played some proper difficult games over the last 4 or 5 games. I remember looking at some last 6 stats, some last 4 game stats, and thinking, God, Bournemouth aren't statting very well there. And then I looked at the actual fixtures. They've had some really hard games, right? Including that outlier game, if you like, against City, where they did absolutely nothing. They did 9 behind the ball, XG of 0.0, no shots, no possession, anything. So that was massively skewing their stats that Man City game. Despite the fact they almost got something out of it, which would have been pretty incredible. But now, do you think that we're going to start seeing the Bournemouth of old, if you like, the Bournemouth that we saw a few weeks, maybe even months ago, away at Huddersfield, who are the whipping boys, I'm afraid to say, probably already down? Is Brooks an option now he's back? Wilson potentially, Don was saying, although we've got to see how he returns from injury, I think.
I find Bournemouth really tough at the moment, really tough. So I'm still holding Fraser.
I think that's good though. You're happy to have him now though?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
One of the most creative players in the league, right?
I think so. I think I'm happy to hold him.
I would be even happier to have him once Wilson's back.
Agree. And I think for me, the Bournemouth team with Brooks and Wilson is by far a better team than the Bournemouth team that we've seen recently when they've both been out.
Notice that in the last game, sorry to cut across you, notice in the last game that Brooks straight back in there.
Yeah.
Straight back in with the start, not 20 minutes off the bench, straight in there from the start. That's how important he is.
And they need to pick up the points. That's how important he is to Eddie Howe, and they
need the points, you're absolutely right.
But I think for me, my worry with Bournemouth is that they are in many ways a bit like Fulham at the moment. They're so poor defensively right now because of the injuries to their back line that it's demoralising as a striker because you've got to score to compensate for what's going on.
They've played some tough teams.
They have, so that worries me a bit with Bournemouth because where are their heads? Because they've played a lot of hard teams. Yeah. They've had a lot of bad injuries to key players, and both defensively and attacking minded. So where are they in terms of their team morale going into these nice fixtures like this game against Huddersfield? Now it should be an easy boost up for them, shouldn't it, this one?
Yeah, and it's a shame we can't really rely on them defensively because actually their goalkeeper, Artur Boruc, as Aaron Chen is saying, is Boruc a worthy asset? I think he is given his price. I think he was 3.9 maybe when I last looked. He might even be 4 now after a few people have bought him in. But do we trust that Bournemouth defence without Steve Cook, without our mate Simon Francis that we met the other week, with Charlie Daniels at the back there, who frankly for me is an awful defender. No, he's gone, Sam. He's gone.
Now.
I know you love Charlie Daniels.
I love Charlie Daniels.
But listen, you loved Kieran Trippier a few weeks ago, and now look.
Oh no, I still love Kieran Trippier. The man's a hero, but he just needs to sort himself out.
So Bournemouth assets, you've got Fraser. I'm happy holding Fraser. If Wilson's back and Wilson's in the middle, would you consider him now? Great, wasn't he, at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, but
it's a wait and see, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a wait and see.
I mean, you can't lose Rashford and Jimenez, and I've got Kane. I'm not going to lose Kane on a punt on Wilson.
That is the thing. If you want Wilson in, if you're going to do the most like-to-like swap, it's probably Jimenez. And
my strategy,
you're not going to do that,
I'm not going to lose Jimenez. No.
Well, saying that, we just talked about Jimenez with the fact that he's got to go to Chelsea in that blank.
Yeah, but my strategy means I'm not going to lose Jimenez.
Okay, depends on your chip strategy. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Any more to say about Bournemouth versus Huddersfield? I don't think we want to talk about Huddersfield. I think we can move swiftly on.
I can tell you that in the last 3 matches between the two sides, there's been 15 goals. They've finished 5-1, 4-1 and 4-0.
To Bournemouth every time? Or
No.
No, okay. So there's always goals for one team in this game.
Always the home side that wins.
God, blimey. So Huddersfield 4-0 then in that game?
Yeah.
You heard it here first, guys. FPL Family calling
it 4-1 or 5-1. But yeah, Bournemouth might get 1, but basically the stats suggest that Huddersfield are going to run a riot.
Speaking of being awful away from home, Brighton travelled to the Selhurst Park in the lunchtime kickoff on Saturday.
Brighton.
So Brighton at Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace have actually shown some signs of being pretty offensively decent in the last few game weeks. Batshuayi settled in there quite nicely.
Yeah, I like him.
Zaha seems to be coming back to the fore.
Yeah,
even Miljovic, I think, got a penalty or something the other day, didn't he? So talk me through the Crystal Palace assets you're considering, and I'd like your thoughts, even if you've got any, on Jeffrey Schlupp, who is a 4.5 Crystal Palace defender playing out of position a lot of the time on the wouldn't say he's a marauding winger, but he's certainly playing.
Winger.
Jeffrey Schlupp is marauding. You heard it here first.
Never in his life been called a marauding winger before.
Jeffrey Schlupp is going to watch this and go, "Yes, I'm marauding." But Jeffrey Schlupp is
tweet him.
up and down. He's up and down that wing like an absolute whippet at the minute, and getting into really nice positions.
Like a whippet.
A marauding whippet, Jeffrey Schlupp. A marauding whippet.
I love this.
What do you think of the Crystal Palace assets? And are there any jammy picks in there for that home game against Bournemouth? Because they're low ownership, Crystal Palace.
I will answer that question, but Joe, please do not put 50 quid on Huddersfield winning that game. Please don't.
Yeah, 4-0 we said, didn't we?
Oh,
big home win.
Imagine if that came in. Joe would he'd have to buy me a present.
He could buy Watford a new striker.
Oh, he could, yeah. Oh, that's a bit mean.
Well, we're going to talk about Deeney in a minute. We need Deeney to do us a favour this weekend. But come on, Crystal Palace versus Brighton.
So Palace. It should be a Palace victory. Palace are in good form. They've only lost one of the last. Look, I've written they've only lost one of the last home matches against Brighton. What even number was that? I didn't even write the number of games, but they've only lost one of the last matches they played against Brighton. I don't even know how many games
they've lost one of the last some games.
Some games I didn't write.
Brilliant,
it down.
excellent.
But Zaha,
what you should have said was they've got a good record.
They've got a good record. Scrub that bit. They've got a good record.
We'll edit that out. Don't worry.
No, we don't know how to edit these things. So Zaha has got 5 goals in 9 appearances versus Brighton and 6 goal involvements in the last 6 Premier League matches.
Yes, looking good, isn't he?
Yeah, 5 goals and 1 assist. So he's looking good. But also Murray's got a good record against Palace. So I can see Schlupp losing his clean sheet while he's marauding. Yeah, I don't fancy Brighton to do much there, to be honest with you. I think if I was starting to look at differentials, I'd look at Batshuayi. But it'd be interesting to see, guys. Maybe you can tell us how what the TSB is, how owned, if you like, Zaha is. Because as FPL Chancellor is saying, I think Palace will beat Brighton quite comfortably. Salman Jaffer is saying Zaha looks really good. I agree with all that stuff. I like Zaha as a nice pick this weekend. And I also wish I still had Aaron Wan-Bissaka in my team. 13.6.
13.6% ownership for Zaha. So nowhere near jammy pick territory, but still, a worthy differential, I think. Worth talking about.
Yeah, I'm playing Wan-Bissaka.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you're going to play him, I guess. I think that's the right thing to do. Absolutely.
Especially after last week's assist on my bench.
Yes, absolutely. And it'd be interesting to see what he does with the goalkeeper as well. He dropped Gaeta, didn't he, for the last game? I think Hennessy did pretty well. So be interesting to see what he does with Gaeta in that game as well. So I think we're going home win for Crystal Palace versus Brighton. I also see a home win for Leicester versus Fulham, another team that we've been talking a lot about on Twitter, on Instagram, the FPL community talking a lot about Leicester. A lot of talk about Vardy and Barnes. And of course James Maddison as well, who's a favourite of yours, I know.
I don't want to talk about that, man.
A lot of talk about Vardy actually since his apparent concussion.
Got loads of great stats
in the last
about this game.
Give us some stats on Leicester versus Fulham. I foresee a nice home win for Brendan Rodgers. I think he's going to get off the mark there because Fulham, despite being a little bit more resolute against Chelsea in the last game, still in the first 30 to 35 minutes against Chelsea, they could have absolutely gone to town, Chelsea, in that game, and I expect Leicester to be going into that game full of confidence. Let's have some stats.
Yeah, so both managers are up for their first points. Obviously not getting any last time.
Sure.
Rodgers can become the 3rd manager after Mancini and Mourinho to win all 7 Premier League matches versus one opponent.
Okay.
So he's on 6
So he's got a good record against Fulham. Okay.
So, that goes well. Jamie Vardy, he's on 99 goals in all comps for Leicester. Could make his 100th this game week. As
Varun is saying, though, a nice point in the live chat, Vardy is invisible throughout the game, hardly gets any touches. I agree with you on that one. Didn't have a lot of touches in the last game, although did pop up with the goal, didn't he, eventually? So if he's getting the FPL points, do we care?
Well, quite. And Fulham are so poor defensively that they will give away free kicks because they are terrible. Which is why it pains me to say that there could be some points in this for Maddison this week.
Yeah, Fulham do not defend set pieces well. The stats say it. So Maddison could be up for some points finally.
And therefore Vardy as well, because the balls coming in from Maddison are likely to be at Vardy, aren't they?
I don't know, I think every free kick that Maddison takes, he aims it at Maguire's head squarely on his head. I think Vardy is there to pick up the scraps. But I think they aim for Vardy, for Maguire a lot of the time.
Maybe you're
right. Potential joy for Maddison from set pieces. Do you fancy Pereira to keep a clean sheet in that game? I'll tell you what, I don't.
I don't fancy Pereira ever to keep a clean sheet.
I don't fancy a Leicester clean sheet
there on my team sheet, and I think why. And I still every week think, why have I done this to myself? What was the point of him?
All right, chill out. He's a good option for the next few weeks.
Is he?
I don't foresee a Leicester clean sheet there. I think
1
Fulham,
point every week, guaranteed.
I think Fulham did create some chances, particularly towards the end of that Chelsea game last game week. Could have had more goals. I think Mitrovic had a header that Kepa did well to save. So I think Fulham can go there and get some goals, but I think they'll let in more than they score. So
Do you reckon?
I'm fancying a home win.
I don't.
What, are you backing Fulham in that game?
Yeah.
Goodness me. So you're backing Huddersfield at home to Bournemouth and Fulham away to Leicester.
The Huddersfield one was a joke.
I really now want to get your opinion on Cardiff versus West Ham. Presumably you are all in on a home win.
Do you know one of the jammy pick options this week was a Cardiff?
Shut up. Come on, this stream is going so well. All the technology's worked and you're going to have a jammy pick from Cardiff. I'm not having it.
It was on the list.
I'm not having it.
Right, to be clear, I don't genuinely think that Huddersfield are going to win 4-0, but that is
Good
what the stats
Lord.
say. But I do fancy Fulham to get something from that game. Leicester are so poor.
Goodness me. Joe's saying, do you fancy Watford to beat Man City?
I actually do fancy Watford to get something.
I
reckon Watford could do you a favour.
Let's go to Cardiff versus West Ham and give me your honest thoughts on that game. What do you make of that? Do you think West Ham are going to go there and blow Cardiff away, or have the Bluebirds got something to sing about?
Do you know what? This one, and I'm not being funny now, but I genuinely don't know. Did I even write anything about this game down?
Well, I think from a Cardiff perspective, there's probably not much to write down.
Yes, I did, yeah.
The one thing to consider is that Sol Bamba, I think, is out for, if not the season, a very long time.
It is the whole season,
I think it is, and that's a blow for them. It's a real blow for them because he's a rock at the back there. And I remember watching a number of Cardiff Match of the Day highlights packages where if Sol Bamba wasn't there, could have been a bit more embarrassing. I think is it an ACL? Is it an anterior cruciate ligament? So they are horrible injuries. Obviously, we wish him the best. But that leaves a bit of a gaping hole at the back there for Cardiff, which West Ham could exploit.
West Ham have won every Premier League meeting they've played versus Cardiff. There have only been 3, but they've won them all. Now, for me, that should mean that this game is a West Ham victory, and I think it will be. But West Ham are so inconsistent at the moment, which is why I'm a bit dubious about this game. Not necessarily because I think Cardiff will do anything amazing, but I just don't really trust West Ham.
Okay. What's your thoughts on getting Arnie in? There's a few of the guys in the live chat. Peter Gray, sorry, not Peter Gray. Somebody said it. Dom J can see a West Ham 3-0. I have Arnie in, he says. Joe Findley Badder, hope Anderson isn't playing left back like he was last week. And there was one other comment here as well. Let's see. Arnie to come back in my opinion. Sayak here saying. So, what do you think? Felipe Anderson, 1 assist in his last 10 or something ridiculous. So no FPL returns in the last 10 weeks. But Arnie's coming back in against that Cardiff defence without Sol Bamba. Both he and indeed Lanzini, who is a nice pick that we've talked about on previous live streams, only owned by something like 1% Lanzini. What do you make of him as a nice jammy pick for the weekend?
Well, I had him last week, didn't I? So I couldn't have him again. But
unlucky not to get amongst the points, I thought, last week.
I think he was too, and I'm not just saying that because he was my pick, but I genuinely think he could have got something. And in the article that I wrote for the Scouts this week, the question I did was about Felipe Anderson, and I'm firmly in the camp of even depending upon chip strategy, if you needed him for 31, I just don't think he's going to add much value. I think he'll just be sitting there with a 2 or potentially maybe a 3-pointer and not do anything else. For me, and I wrote this, I think Arnautovic and I think Lanzini in particular are far better options attacking. I even think Antonio potentially is a better option than Felipe Anderson.
So of the 4 attacking options that we're looking at, and I guess if you put Chicharito in there, it could even be 5.
Yeah.
You think Anderson's the worst of those?
I think he's
at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, because he had a purple spell earlier on in the season where he was fairly consistent, but even that purple spell, there was still 2 blanks, and then he'd get some points, and then he'd get another blank, and then he'd get some points.
Think it's a confidence thing? What's up with him?
I think maybe it's a confidence thing, but I also think, if we think back to the beginning of the season when it was Felipe Anderson and Arnautovic, and this guy that got injured is long-term injured at the moment.
Oh, I don't know. Probably Andy Carroll.
He's just always long-term.
Always injured.
But the 3 of them were forming a lovely little partnership, and then it was during that the purple spell went for Anderson, and he was playing really well. But actually, that we've not seen that replicated as the season's gone on, and that I suppose in part that is because of injury, because Arnautovic has been out, and then we've had all this weird stuff about China, and then obviously Lanzini coming back in, so it's all a bit up in the air. And I just kind of feel like Anderson is one of those players where consistent runs with consistent other players in the team, and he's better.
Okay, and the guys are saying, Shashank, thank you for that. Yarmolenko is the guy, of course. Yarmolenko. So, of course, he actually did look pretty good until he got his long-term injury. You're right. He was one of their key signings in the summer.
The three of them together were lovely.
And they did look kind of nice. And a few of you guys have mentioned Snodgrass as well. Another one that I've missed there. So, actually, we're talking about the 5. Maybe there's 6 West Ham options we should be looking at.
All better than Felipe Anderson.
And you think all better than Felipe Anderson. Goodness me. I personally think that he could be getting a bit of fatigue, Felipe Anderson. I noticed, well, it's happened to Richarlison this season as well. But last season, Richarlison dropped off a cliff, didn't he? And it's largely because, in my view, the young South American players come in and it's tough. The Premier League is tough. You've got to remember that Anderson is, I don't know how old he is, but he's 20, 21, 22. He's a young player. First season in the Premier League, he's been used a lot. It's going to take its toll on him, I think, and it's tough. It's tough in the Premier League. So lots and lots of options. Josh Oram, sorry, not Josh. Josh Oram is saying Nasri is there too. I'm not entirely with you on that one, Josh, but I think, needless to say, lots to choose from the Hammers, and if you haven't got a West Ham asset in already, the Cardiff game, again with Sol Bamba not there at the back for the Bluebirds, that is a nice game to be scouting West Ham assets, and I absolutely will be scouting Lanzini in particular, if not bring him in this week. If not bring him in, I might be doing that.
I'm free hitting him in.
Are you? Yes, I think you could be. That could be a good shout. Let's go to Man City versus Watford then. Routine, Joe Findlay Batter. Routine home win, I would say, for Manchester City. Given that Watford got...
Watford to put up a fight?
No, not really. They were awful away at Liverpool when we went to see the game, and I expect them to be pretty bad against City. And I also expect City to be in the right sort of mood, to batter a team. So, sorry, Joe. I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong, but I think that City will be all out in that one.
Saturday night, right?
It's Saturday night. It's an evening kickoff on Saturday. I noticed that the scouts, Joe in the FF Scout community, did a really nice piece on the Scoutcast comparing the last couple of games where they've not had Fernandinho at Man City versus when they didn't have Fernandinho early on in the season. And there's a marked difference, actually, in the last couple of game weeks. So when they didn't have him early on in the season, they went in their shell a little bit and they didn't have as much creativity in the middle. They were defensively a bit all over the place. And if you remember, Ederson, your favourite at that moment in time, used to concede a goal a game. There was mistakes, and it was
throwing the ball in his own net,
and they were conceding all over the place. It was a nightmare. But the last couple of games, even without Fernandinho, they've had a different sort of approach. And Bernardo Silva, in particular, has been singled out for praise by Pep for coming in and doing a fantastic job. So, what are your thoughts ahead of Man City versus Watford? Given that they blank in 31, but I guess you're bringing in some. Well, let me ask you this question. Are you holding on to any Manchester City assets you've got or bringing any in, given that they've got a double in game week 32 because of your strategy?
I bought in Sterling before for my double in 32 if it ever gets announced for being in 32 strategy.
Yeah.
Because the games are nice and I wanted a triple captain and I think Sterling is a good option. So I've done that already. And now I'm just pondering with what to do because I actually feel quite happy with my team this week, but I need to make a transfer because obviously if I'm going to free hit for game week 31, that means I'll lose my transfer.
Sure.
So I need to make one now and then one ahead of 32 so I can get 2 more doublers in. Now I'm not I don't think, or I'm not going to bring in another City player ahead of this game. I may probably do it ahead of the double.
Who are you thinking?
Don't know yet.
Would you go back to Laporte? Do you think he's still a good option at the back, or any of their defensive assets? Zinchenko, by the way, started the last 3 games in that position. So does he fancy him now?
Or maybe. I mean, I've been looking at Mendy and watching what's going on with him. If he ever comes back proper.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I don't think he's unfit anymore. I think there was a bit of a reaction to the knee injury, but he's missed the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks since he last played, I think, he played in the FA Cup when they played Newport or something. He came on. So he kind of came on, bit of a reaction to the knee injury, but not sure what's going on with Mendy. You can't touch him from an FPL perspective right now.
No, so I'm waiting to see what happens obviously with him. I did ponder on Kyle Walker for a while, and then just as a bit of a differential Man City defensive option.
Okay.
Potentially, I suppose that it's hard, isn't it? Because I feel like I want more City for that double game week, but I'm not sure
Who?
with the roulette.
Who?
I'm not
yes,
sure who.
It's very difficult, isn't it? It's very difficult.
Plus throw into that the Champions League game, and then there's going to be rotation.
Okay, Bithin is in the live chat. He's saying, go for Edison Sam. Nail it on.
No.
Steve Wynyard said, Edison Sam. He's the one.
No. Just to rub some salt into the wounds, Joe. Man City have never lost to Watford, and in the last 7 goals, the aggregate score has been 22-3.
In the last 7 games, 22-3 aggregate score.
Correct.
Man City versus Watford.
Sorry,
Goodness
Joe.
me. Goodness me, yes. I must admit, I can't see too far past a home win. Watford were good against Leicester, no doubt about it. They played very well. But they were awful in their last away game at Anfield.
For the Aguero owners out there, Aguero's on 96 Premier League goals at the Etihad. If he gets one more, he'll go 3rd, level with Shearer for the most goals scored in one venue.
Yes, and I think as Josh Oram is saying, he thinks Aguero is too important not to get minutes. I agree. I expect to see Aguero at the weekend. We all know what that means. Jesus will come in. But no, I'm expecting to see Aguero, and I'm expecting City to go pretty full strength in that game. They've got to play Schalke, but it's at home. It's on Tuesday/Wednesday the following week, and they're 3-2 up with 3 away goals from the first leg. Now we've seen what complacency can do in Paris last night with Manchester United, but Schalke are probably, difficult for me to say this because it's the last 16 of the Champions League, but they're probably one of the weaker teams that are left in it. I'm expecting City to do pretty well against Schalke.
I think if anyone's going to get rested at any point, it'll be Aguero in one of the double game week games.
Could be. All right, and a word on Watford. Any thoughts on Deulofeu? He got a hat-trick a few weeks ago, but since then has not really showed up and done very much at all.
It's too inconsistent from an
Pretty
FPL point of view.
Yeah, and I think the fixtures for Watford going forward look pretty tough, including a bunch of blanks.
And there's blanks.
So there it is. Yeah.
Joe.
Sorry, even less than 42 seconds this week.
Yeah. I mean, what is there to say, though?
No, I think we'll leave it there.
22-3. Let's leave it like that.
Southampton versus Spurs. So Spurs with actually what looks like, after the last few game weeks, a pretty tricky tie at Southampton. Southampton showing a little bit of form, with the likes of Ward-Prowse doing quite well. I think I saw a picture of Danny Ings on Instagram saying that he could be back. Did I see that correctly? I'm not sure if Danny Ings is back in the mix. Don't know. But either way,
what are you doing on Instagram?
I don't know, just skulking, just wandering around aimlessly without a profile. Spurs, I'm expecting Spurs to have a bit of a difficult game there.
Why?
Well, I think Southampton has shown a bit of form. Give me your thoughts on the game then.
Southampton haven't won a game against Spurs at home since rejoining the Premier League.
You enjoyed writing that one down, didn't you? I can tell.
Southampton have lost more points from winning positions than any other side, 20 points.
Okay, wow.
And Kane has scored in his last 4 Premier League matches versus Southampton 6 goals, and now he's only 2 behind Aguero in the race for the Golden Boot. It is on.
It's on. It's an away win. Give me your thoughts on Heung-min Son in particular then.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
He's gone off the boil, wasn't he?
But the team sheet came out on Tuesday night, and I was like, why is Son playing? I don't...
Perfect opportunity for a rest, right?
Yeah, and it baffled me for a long time, and I still don't understand it. I was certain that Son would get a rest. And now I look at that game on Saturday and I think, surely Son's going to get benched, but I don't know if he will.
Okay. At some
Dele
stage...
Alli's back.
Dele Alli is fit for the game, confirmed?
Fit. Confirmed by Pep.
Okay.
By Pep?
Pep.
By Poch.
You wish.
Excuse me, I don't. Confirmed by Poch that Dele Alli is fit and available for selection at the weekend.
Okay, so you think he might come in for Son?
Probably.
Or the system will get rearranged so that Son rests and Dele Alli comes in.
And in even better news, we've applied to have our next Champions League game at the new stadium.
The new stadium is on, I think, isn't it? The new stadium is on.
They've applied to the the council for road closures and stuff around the 16th of March, which is going to be one of the test games. It's so exciting. Okay,
very good. So let's see. Varun is saying Spurs do have a bit of a break after this with having played their Champions League game. So
we do.
Maybe Son does play. Salman Jaffrey is saying, I hope Son doesn't play. Russia was saying Son needs a vacation. Son's run out of batteries. Gianni Ross is saying. Varun, will Son be rested? Good question. We don't know.
Well, we keep thinking he will.
We keep thinking it's coming.
But now Dele's back, it is a bit different.
Yeah, I think potentially if he was going to rest him, it's not a bad game to rest him in this one.
Because he could have 2 weeks off.
But listen, Poch doesn't like to rest him. He doesn't like to rest his players. I personally am thinking of Son out actually this week, given that my chip strategy is to free hit in 32. Spurs obviously don't play in 31. So with Southampton away and a possible rotation risk and then a blank, if I want him back in 32, I can if he shows a bit of form.
Who will you get?
I'm looking at Lanzini. Looking at Lanzini. And if I do that, we'll talk about transfers in a sec, but if I do that, it enables me to do maybe Rashford to Higuain next week as well. So I'm looking at that. That is what I'm looking at. Last game to cover, Liverpool versus Burnley. We spoke a little bit at the top of the show about what's wrong with Salah. And as Frank was rightly saying in the live chat and on his on the Skype call, he's still getting in nice positions. He's still getting chances. Just not taking them with the confidence that we thought we might do. Similarly, Mane looks a bit short of it as well, right? So for those that are looking to downgrade Salah to Mane to save a bit of money, yeah, I guess so, because he's not offering any more or any less than Salah is. So what's your thoughts? I mean, we covered it last stream, so let's not go too crazy on it, but is the Liverpool treble up still on, in your opinion? And if you are going to do that, is it now 2 defensive assets is the way to go?
Yeah, he's on. It definitely is on. The fixture's too nice, particularly if you're free hitting in 32. It's definitely on because the blank fixture is lovely.
Yes.
But I think if you're gonna do their offensive treble up, it's with Firmino and
so which 3 Liverpool players will you have in your 31 free hit team?
I don't know.
Brilliant.
Probably Robbo.
Yeah.
Trent and Salah, probably. But I don't.
You can't not have the Egyptian king, can you?
Well, I don't now, do I? But I kind of feel like if I'm free hitting, I should have him back. But I don't really know why I feel like that. And I don't know why I feel like I should get Trent over Firmino, because maybe I want to get Higuain. I don't know. Okay. So basically, I don't know, but I will have 3 players from my free hit Liverpool team. Very
good. All right, Mane edges it for me over Salah. Midas Boys is saying Robbo, Van Dijk, and Salah. Salman Jaffer is saying.
What happened to TAA?
FPL Chancellor, I think Liverpool win, but not by a load. Prefer a defensive double myself. I'm with you on that, Dan. I'm absolutely delighted to be owning Trent, and I've seen some stuff on Twitter. I think even in the Scoutcast they were saying, yeah, Trent's still too much of a rotation risk. Milner can come in. No chance, in my opinion. No chance. We are way better when Trent plays. He is a natural right back. He'll be gagging for game time, and he's a brilliant set piece taker and a brilliant deliverer of a ball. So he plays. I will. If Milner plays at the weekend, or if anybody other than Trent plays at right back between now and the end of the season, okay, there might be some rotation around the Champions League, but I'd be amazed. I'd be amazed. I think Trent is a brilliant pick for now until the end of the season. So get on him, guys. That is my opinion.
Burnley, though, have won 2 of their last 3 matches on a Sunday.
They have indeed, and they are looking a bit more resolute, as we've mentioned a few times. No Joe Hart anymore. Heaton's come in and doing the business. So, yes.
And Barnes and Wood are good.
And they are good. So I think Liverpool at home are pretty imperious, though, particularly defensively. So
35 matches in the Premier League at home unbeaten.
Yes, and I'm backing us to get a clean sheet there, and therefore hopefully a win. It's just whether we can grind Burnley down and get that result. At home we are pretty good. We are pretty good at home, so I'm hoping for a home win. I'm hoping for a home win, but not by many. I think it will be a pretty tight game.
Yeah.
So there we go. Those are the fixtures. There's plenty more we could discuss. There's loads more to think about. We haven't even touched on Newcastle versus Everton, which is, Newcastle are a team that we're all looking at over the next few weeks to give us some points from maybe Rondon or Almiron. I know Rondon's a pretty popular transfer in this game week. Maybe people thinking of getting off of Jimenez or Rashford with the impending blank in game week 31. So Rondon a popular pick. And from Everton, they look resolute against Liverpool, right? They did look resolute. That's not, making me want to get on Everton anytime soon, because I know they play Chelsea, don't they, in the 31? So they haven't got great fixtures away at Newcastle and then I think away at Chelsea for the next 2. They do play, at least in 31. So if you've got an Everton player,
it doesn't mean much, though,
I think you stick. But I do think that the Merseyside derby last weekend was incredible atmosphere, and Everton was so up for it. And they defended really, really well, and actually they could have even nicked it, right? They could have won that game. So I think that was a bit of a one-off. I'm expecting them to go to Newcastle and revert to the mean a little bit. I think Newcastle will win that game. So there we go. Those are the fixtures covered. Let's talk about teams and transfers and captains. Here is my team. No, that is my Game Week 29 score. Let's go to my team, my bus team. No transfers made yet, guys. No transfers yet. I'm going to zoom out of this a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. I think that's better, isn't it? So no transfers made as yet. I'm happy with the goalkeeping situation. I think it's very, very clear that you would go Fabianski over Foster this game week. Happy with the Liverpool double up at the back as well. You'll notice that on my bus team I've got Trent as captain. He is not going to be my captain this game week.
Hang on, why is Trent your captain?
Well, because I at the moment I think, listen, he's not going to be my captain. It's going to be Aguero or Salah, but I just haven't had a chance to set my bus team, and I was faffing about with it while I was in Athens, and I obviously just saved it with Trent.
Were you drunk?
I don't think I was drunk, although I did have quite a lot of ouzo on Tuesday night, so it could I could have been is the answer to that. But my bus team, well, let's change it now because absolutely it's going to be on Sergio. I can't believe I'm asking this, but how do I do that? Why can't I do that?
What are you doing?
My team.
You need to pick team. Go to pick team.
I always do it on my phone.
No. You need to go to...
No, I'm in my team. I never do this on the laptop. Never do it. Just click on him, right? Yeah, make captain. There you go. So I make Aguero my captain, Salah, and I obviously got to save. I always forget to do that on the laptop. That's why I don't do it on the laptop. So Aguero captain, Salah as vice in the bus team right now. Maddison, I'm hoping for something from this week. I'm hoping for something. I bought him in a couple of weeks ago against Fulham, who are bad at set pieces. Maddison, very creative. Oh, goodness me, got to deliver some points, doesn't he?
Look at them two stinking up the centre of your team there. Two
Hey, listen,
Leicester
if they
players.
can't get some points at home to Fulham, they need to give up and go home. Pogba I'm happy with. I think Man U are going to be buzzing, and I think I'm going to be playing Rashford in that side as well. In fact, I would rather have, Sam from FPL Family, Rashford over Son. I would rather play that right now. And I've got to save that as well. So I'd rather have Rashford in my bus team, given what the young lad has just been through. He's going to be absolutely on a high. Fraser Wright, Huddersfield, I think you've got to play. Jimenez can do the business. We've seen it. Wolves up their game against the big sides. We said it before. Transfers for this game week. If I'm looking at two that I want in, I do like the look of Vardy, but I think Vardy and Maddison is too much. So Higuain would be the one that I'd like to look for my game week 31 dead end team before I go into free hit territory in 32. And to do that, I would probably look to get rid of Rashford, given that I've got less value in Rashford than I have in Jimenez. So I'm happy to play Rashford against Arsenal, but then next week, obviously, they blank. So Rashford to Higuain is on for me as my game week 31 transfer. However, I need some money to do that. So to fund that, I'm thinking about downgrading Son to somebody this game week, and Lanzini. Lanzini is my pick. I think he could do really nicely, and he's a really nice differential given that he's owned by virtually no one, right? 1 or 2%.
You're going to bring him in and bench him?
No, I will probably bench possibly Jimenez. Possibly. I don't know. Jimenez and maybe play Lanzini. Don't know. But to be honest, I'd be doing it.
Madison over...
Madison's at home to Fulham. Come on, I can score against Fulham, for goodness sake. He got to get points in that game. Got to. But it would be very uncomfortable benching Jimenez. Very uncomfortable. I've done that a few weeks ago and he got a 9 points, if you remember rightly. So I'm very uncomfortable doing that.
I'm playing him 100%.
So that is what I'm thinking, guys. But stay tuned on FPL Family, at FPL Family on Twitter, and I'll let you know what my transfers and captain is going to be. I think captain is, I think it's Sergio. I think I'm going to go there with that home form. Difficult to ignore that. But my transfer is still up for debate, guys. But that is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Lanzini in to fund Higuain next week.
I like the transfer, to be fair. I just would play him. Be bringing him in, I'd play him.
I think you're probably right. Let's see White Hart Home, which is your team.
Nearly there, aren't we?
Stunning pink kit.
It's nearly appropriate as a name choice.
It's nearly the right name choice. This is, of course, your team from last game week. Not your bus team, but talk us through the changes and what you might be doing.
Lindelof's made way for Wan-Bissaka. And
you're going to bench Lindelof? Yeah, okay.
And Doherty's made way for Fraser. So
sure.
That's where we are at the moment. Captain's armband is on Harry Kane.
Harry Kane, captain's armband. Goodness me. Okay.
Vice captain. I can't remember where I've put that. I think it might be on Sterling. Sorry, Joe.
I think the Man City assets are going to be popular. Sterling's going to be a popular captain pick this week.
I think that's what I've done. I can't remember now. Transfers. So I'm pondering a really boring transfer. I'm bringing in changing my defense, changing my second keeper.
Okay.
But I'm not bench boosting till later, so that can wait. I need as many double game weekers as possible for 32. So I did think about Ryan, just replacing Button with Ryan.
Okay.
But it feels very boring.
Have you got 2 free transfers you're holding?
No, 1. But I obviously have to make it because of next week's.
Because of the free hit. Okay.
So I have to do something. I just don't yet know what. I was sort of hoping that we might have had some word on confirmed more double game weeks by now, but we haven't.
Okay.
So I just need to kind of decide who I want really in that double game week.
Okay, well listen, stay tuned to at FPL Family on Instagram as well. I think it's fair to say that both of us are still a bit undecided on transfers. A bit undecided. A bit of thought needs to go into it over the next 48 hours. We're going to watch this back. I'm going to listen to all the live chat comments and then potentially make my transfers on Friday. It's a Saturday deadline, right? Normal game week, isn't it?
Yes,
Saturday deadline.
11:30. Yeah,
Great.
We've got to do this little guy as well.
We've got to do that little guy. We've got to do polls
And
and then jammy picks as well. So why don't we do jammy picks first? Because we do love a jammy pick. While I'm lining this up, talk us through who your jammy pick is for this game week, Sam.
So I looked at teams that kind of I felt needed something. Thought, oh, let's look at teams that need some points from somewhere. So Leicester, Bournemouth, and Cardiff. So Harvey Barnes still only owned by 0.4%.
Still very low, isn't it? Yeah,
still very low.
There's a lot of talk about him on Twitter and in the FPL communities, but you know, again, we've got to remember that the FPL community is a very small sample of the 6.5 million people that play the game, or the 3.5 million that are still playing the game. 0.what% owned? 0.4% Barnes. Brilliant stuff. Okay.
And then obviously Brooks for Bournemouth.
Yes.
3.7 now. Dropped a lot because of the injury.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
back within jammy pick territory.
3.7 Brooks.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
And then for Cardiff, I had Gunnarsson, 0.8%. Really struggled to find anyone from Cardiff that might be a decent jammy pick.
Obviously, yeah.
So on the basis that I really don't trust Leicester, I'm going to go with Brooks.
David Brooks. Okay, yes, I like that as a jammy pick. Yeah, I think it's potentially a bit obvious for you, Sam. But okay, we'll go.
But, I mean, what did you do this week? Because
let's see. Sorry, I didn't mean to just knock it down like that. Let's see what the FPL community is saying on Twitter. Orsemo is going with big Romelu Lukaku. What is that now? 6 goals in 3 games or something? Oh, absolutely stupendous form for the big man. Looks lean, looks back in the groove. I like the look of him.
To be fair, I had a look at him on Wednesday evening when I was watching the game on the basis that you told me he looked like he'd lost weight. And I do agree, actually. He does look like he has.
Very good, very good. Martin Boyle in the live chat saying Declan Rice. Of course, we didn't talk about Declan Rice when we spoke West Ham. 4.4 defender in the game, obviously playing out of position in midfield. Not going to get tons of goals, but you never know. With West Ham's fixtures, could get up there and get some points for you. The boys at Who Got the Assist, Tom and Nick, I think this would have been Tom, is saying Batshuayi from Chelsea, from Crystal Palace.
Oh, back in the day. Batshuayi from
gone
Chelsea.
back a bit, haven't we? Gone back a bit. But Batshuayi for Crystal Palace, we spoke about how bad Brighton are away from home. We like the fact that Crystal Palace have got that fixture on Saturday lunchtime. So I'm with Tom now. I think it's a nice pick, Batshuayi. Tielemans there from Andre at Archie FPL11 is saying Tielemans 0.2% owned. Looks good.
But he performed last week, so it kind of removed him as a jammy option for me.
Absolutely, very good. Navishka06 at Navishka06. David Brooks 3.7%, as you rightly say. Alex Howlett Schlupp, who we mentioned before. Another one from Andy Nash there at FPL Nashville 86. David Brooks again. Looks about 12 years old, doesn't he? David Brooks?
Yeah.
Looks like he just should be back in school. Here's a nice one from at FPL Liam from Liam Wrist. Yannick Vestergaard. Interesting.
Right. A Southampton defender against Spurs.
At home to Spurs. Very nice. Very nice. Let's see. Lukaku at the moment he is 4.5%. Andrew Yee says likely to rise. Yes. Another one for Lukaku. Another one for Brooks. Some popular ones coming out here. Big Troy Deeney at Dirty Smitter is saying poor fixture, but he's on form.
Got to do with anything? It's Troy.
Yeah, absolutely. One for David Silva, one for Declan Rice in there. Zinchenko, who we mentioned now, 3 starts in a row at DonFancy_FPL is saying only 0.2% owned. Yeah, nice. Could be good. Could be good. Let's see what else you guys are saying. FPL executive Manuel Lanzini, who would be my jammy pick for this week. Absolutely. Not only that, thinking about getting him in. Harvey Barnes at FPL Opinion, 0.4%. So some really nice jammy picks there from the community. But the FPL family jammy pick for this game week is David Brooks, back under 5% owned after that injury.
Probably the only time I can pick him because he won't be below 5%.
Absolutely a nice pickup. Let's go to the polls. The polls. Here we go. So Sam, who is going to be your captain, if I can click it right on my phone? Who's going to be your Game Week 30 captain out of these motley crew? Salah, Sterling, Vardy, Aguero or Pogba?
Well, where's Kane?
Yeah, didn't consider Kane. And there's not even an other either. So out of those 5, who would you go for?
I guess I'll go Sterling as is my vice.
Very good, right.
Goodness me. What is...
36% going with the Egyptian King. Keeping faith in the Egyptian King. 36% Salah. 31% Sterling, 27% Aguero, 4% of you on Vardy. No one on Pogba, rested during the week. Suspended, so didn't play during the week. United will be buzzing for that game, surely. Arsenal concede like Billy O. Best Bournemouth attacking options. So we're going to talk about Bournemouth, Leicester and West Ham attacking options. 3 teams that are In our thoughts, frankly, in our thoughts for the next few weeks. Best Bournemouth attacking options, Sam. Brooks, King, Wilson or Fraser?
If fit, Wilson.
If fit, Callum Wilson. Brooks, actually. Brooks, the jammy pick for this game week. He's getting a lot of love. 55%. 18% on King. 14 on Wilson. 12 on Fraser. Let's talk about best Leicester attacking options. Vardy, Barnes, Maddison or Tielemans?
God, what?
And I'm pretty sure you ain't picking Maddison.
I'm definitely not. It's Vardy or Barnes.
Vardy, 65% of the community going with Jamie Vardy. Maddison in next at 21%. Harvey Barnes in at 7. Pretty close actually between Barnes and Tielemans. Barnes in at 7 and Tielemans in at 6. And turning our thoughts to West Ham, Arnautovic, Anderson, Lanzini, Antonio, Snodgrass. There was more, as we said in the live chat, but out of those 5, who would you fancy?
Lanzini.
34% going with Lanzini. He's going to be a popular pick, I would suggest, over the next few weeks. 34% Lanzini. 25% going with Arnautovic, who is a proven FPL asset. I know his head's been turned potentially, but proven FPL asset Arnautovic, now that he's back. Yeah, but goodness me, it was a long layoff, wasn't it? It was a long layoff. But 34% going Lanzini, 25% Arnautovic, 19% Anderson, 13% Snodgrass, and 7% Antonio. Very, very good. All right, there it is. So there it is, guys. Those are the polls. That was today's FPL family. Who is this guy? Get in the live chat, guys. You've got 30 seconds to tell us who you think that is.
Just put it on the screen so I can see if it's
I will
clear.
be very, very impressed, guys, if you can guess who this is. Who this is. He's in an England shirt. I don't think I've seen anybody in the live chat, either now or before, when you showed him before, come up with the right answer. Shall I give a clue? Ex-Everton, right? I'm pretty sure he's ex-Everton. Ex-Everton defender.
He's a defender, yeah.
Joe Finley Baddo saying Hinchcliffe. No,
or the
not
number
Hinchcliffe.
5 for England, if that helps.
Adam Warswick, Razor Ruddock. No, not
We've
Razor
had him
Ruddock.
already.
Not Razor Ruddock, we've had him. Kevin Mellier wins 10 FPL family points and a pat on the back. Kevin Mellier, very good. It is David Unsworth. And when you picked that out of the pot and said we'll use David Unsworth tonight, I was like, that is the most random pick you could have had.
There is actually some slightly more random ones in there.
Is there?
There's one in there, and I looked at it, and I just thought, I don't even remember you ever playing for England. So it must have been like,
what? How many caps has he got, David Unsworth?
Well, probably 1.
Just a 1 cap, which means he gets a little bobblehead made of him.
I don't know. He must have gone to these were from Euro 96, so he must have gone in the Euro 96 squad.
Goodness me. Part of me thought he was Scottish. Obviously, that's wrong.
Well, he's clearly not Scottish. He's wearing an
Obviously
England
not
shirt.
Scottish. Obviously not Scottish.
Unless he's like Rice. Like Ireland.
He's still undecided, even though he's in an English shirt, still undecided, clearly. Kevin Millier says, boom, what's my prize? Kevin Millier, absolutely nothing. Pride and more pride. And give yourself a massive pat on the back, Kevin. Massive pat on the back. Not me. That's for you, Kevin. There we go, guys. That is it. Good luck in game week 31. Hopefully you enjoyed. I certainly did, talking to Frank today.
I loved talking to Frank.
That was great. That was really great. Not only was it great to have Frank on, but it was great that the technology worked. We managed to get that working. I can foresee more of that sort of stuff happening. Getting future managers of the month, future Patreons on to come and talk about their seasons and talk about with us about the upcoming game week. Might even get some other of our FPL family community friends from Twitter, or Twitter friends. Get some of our Twitter friends on to come and talk about. You never know where this could go. Now the technology works. I am going to be on one, guys. Now the technology works.
We let the mods come on. We let Finley Badder have 42 seconds on Watford.
Absolutely, if he wants to come on and have a chat. If Joe wants to come on and do 42 seconds on Watford, and I will cut him off on 42 seconds. Joe, that is absolutely on. If you want to do that, pal, come and tweet me. I would love to do that. 42 seconds, and we'll play the countdown music. Cut him off on 42. Done. There we go.
That's the best idea I've ever had.
Brilliant idea. Loved live streaming tonight, guys. Absolute pleasure to have you along. Please hit that like button before you go. Hit the subscribe button if you're new around here. Obviously, hit the little notification bell as well so that you know when we're live. That's it. Good luck in Game Week 30. At FPL Family on Twitter. At FPL Family on Instagram. Green arrows for the weekend. And we will see you on Sunday night, 8 p.m, for our Game Week 30 review. I dare say it might be a bit of chip strategy as well with the upcoming Game Week 31.
Will be active.
The free hit will be active for Sam from FPL Family, so don't miss that stream, 8 p.m. Sunday night.
Suddenly
You're panicking already. Good night, guys. Cheers.
Bye, guys. Green arrows.